our gardens have become a really important resource to protect the flora and the fauna of the British Isles. And nothing is more important than protecting the pollinators, the bees and the butterflies that do so much to pollinate our crops as well as our ornamental flowers. So if you're thinking about planting for pollinators, probably the most important thing to do is to think about a succession of planting so that you've got flowers right through from the first bulbs through to these beautiful rhododendrons and azaleas, the cottage garden plants, and going on into the later summer with lovely hydrangeas and perhaps some dahlias or something like that to extend the flowering season. And the wider the variety of plants that you have in your garden, the wider variety of insects they'll attract too. Don't forget to include some water somewhere, even if it's just a little bird bath. When choosing plants for pollinators, it's a really good idea to look for flowers that have a simple structure, open single flowers rather than complex double flowers, and that way it's a lot easier for the insects to get in there and to find the nectar and for the pollen to rub off onto the body of the bees or the legs of the butterflies. What I'd like to do is just to give you a few ideas of some of the plants you might put in your garden. They're personal favourites of mine that I grow and really enjoy. So this is Erysimum bowls mauve. It's a perennial wallflower. It flowers from really quite early in the spring, early to mid-spring, for a very long flowering period, and it's very attractive to insects, a plant that no garden should be without. Cytisus is great because it comes in so many colours. There are whites, lemons, pinks, and as you can see, this rather attractive sort of bi-colour. It's a super plant. It attracts butterflies, it attracts bees, and it's great for birds as well. Rhododendrons and azaleas will give you fantastic spring colour in the garden, and they're a real magnet for insects too. They come in all shapes and sizes, from the really quite diminutive to great big shrubs. So do choose the variety that's going to suit your garden, and they prefer an acidic soil. So as we move from spring into summer, there's a whole host of perennials or cottage garden plants which do great things for butterflies and for bees. And perhaps one of the best is the foxglove. These days there are lots and lots of foxgloves that have been bred to give you different colours, so creams and apricots and whites, but the native purple foxglove is also just brilliant, particularly for bees. In fact, the foxglove is developed in conjunction with the bee, so the foxglove has a lovely tubular bell which the bees can land on and really dive in there for the nectar. What could be more quintessentially English than lupins and delphiniums? And they're great for pollinators too. Lupins have tall flower spikes. They don't have so much nectar, but they're really big on pollen. Delphiniums have majestic flowers. Do protect them from slugs, especially early in the season, but they're just so beautiful and worth their space in any garden. If you like bees and butterflies, then you really should not be without scabious in your garden. They come in blues and a variety of pinks as well. Another great plant for butterflies is buddleia, and buddleias come in a variety of sizes now. You don't need to have a very tall bush. There are some fantastic compact varieties that will suit all gardens. For late summer colour, I really adore hydrangeas, and so do the insects. So if you're aiming for a garden where you've got colour and you've also got insect-friendly plants right through the season, then do make sure you've got a hydrangea in the mix too. I absolutely love roses, and I've got a number in my garden which I grow for their colour, for their scent, and because they flower over such a long period if you choose the right varieties. But if you're thinking about roses for wildlife, then pick them with a single flower rather than a complicated cabbage type flower. So here, for example, is For Your Eyes Only. It was a winner of Rose of the Year, and it has a superb single flower that insects can access very easily. And likewise, for a climber, this one's called Summer Wine, but there are lots of varieties available that have those single flowers that are ideal for pollinators. So fuchsias come either as hardy fuchsias, which can be left out all year round. They grow in the ground and they're really great. They come back year after year. Just cut them back if they get a little bit out of hand. But then there are also the bedding fuchsias, such as these, and they have larger flowers. They're generally a bit more impressive, but they're not frost hardy. But they have fabulous nectar, and therefore they're really attractive to pollinators. Grow lavender for scent by all means, but above all grow it for the bees, and they will love you for it. And often you'll find a lavender bush like this literally teeming with bees, so definitely worth a place in the garden. French lavender like this, slightly more tufty flowers, very attractive, not quite as robust as the English lavender, but in mild